Welcome back wrestling WWE fans, though tonight's story is not one of triumph or shocking twists inside the ring. Tonight we carry the weight of tragedy, heartbreak, and loss. WWE has been shaken to its core with news that has left Triple H, the Bloodline, and the entire wrestling world in tears. The announcement came like thunder on a quiet night. Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, the head of the table, declared dead after a devastating collapse following his brutal encounter at Clash in Paris. To speak those words is to feel the weight of history crashing down. Roman was not just a performer. He was a legacy in motion, the living embodiment of his family's dominance. His absence creates a hole that cannot be filled. Please like, share and subscribe for more WWE content. For years, Roman carried a pressure no other superstar truly understood. He was tasked with leading a billion-dollar company, carrying ratings, selling out arenas, and upholding the legendary ANOA dynasty. Every step he took was watched, measured, and judged. The Bloodline story was not simply entertainment. It was his life, his family, his blood. It gave him power but also chained him to expectation. And beneath that power, there was always the quiet hum of resentment from those who felt smothered under his shadow. Triple H himself once stood across from Roman, guiding him, testing him, and ultimately recognizing him as the company's greatest asset. Their relationship was built on mutual respect, but it was also forged under the heat of constant scrutiny and unrelenting demand. At Clash in Paris, that pressure came to its breaking point. Fans packed the arena, unaware they would be witnessing the darkest night of the modern era in wrestling. Roman stepped into the ring with the same aura of invincibility, but no one knew it would be his final performance. The match began with intensity, Roman asserting dominance as he had done countless times before. Every move echoed the story of his reign, every strike a reminder of why he called himself the tribal chief. For a while, it felt familiar, almost routine. Roman absorbing punishment, giving it back double, asserting control. But then the tone shifted. What unfolded was not just a contest. It became a storm of violence that felt less like a show and more like a real assault. Halfway through the match, the shocking climax arrived. Roman took a series of brutal blows, his body finally giving in under years of wear, exhaustion, and the merciless attack in Paris. He collapsed in the middle of the ring, motionless. The crowd fell silent. The spectacle was gone. In its place was fear. Medics rushed in. Referees called for immediate help, and cameras turned away as the horrifying reality set in. Roman was rushed to the hospital, his condition listed as critical. Backstage, panic rippled through the locker room. Triple H was seen speaking urgently with doctors, his face pale, his voice shaking. The Bloodline members, Jay, Jimmy, and Solo, stood in stunned disbelief. The empire their cousin built, the legacy he embodied, was crumbling before their eyes. Family was suddenly powerless against fate. Then came the call. A doctor stepped forward and delivered the words no one wanted to hear. Roman Reigns was gone. The silence that followed backstage was unbearable. Triple H, who has seen countless careers rise and fall, broke down in tears. The Bloodline wept openly, their grief raw, their pain uncontainable. They were not wrestlers in that moment. They were a family shattered, mourning a leader who had carried them all. Word spread instantly across the wrestling world. Social media became a flood of disbelief and heartbreak. Tributes poured in from fans, legends, and peers. The unbreakable tribal chief had fallen, and the entire industry felt the quake. Behind the scenes, whispers began to grow. Some said Roman knew he was pushing beyond his limits, that his body was at its breaking point. Others suggested years of resentment and constant wars within WWE left him vulnerable on this fateful night. The emotional aftermath is unlike anything WWE has endured in decades. Roman's death forces the company to reckon with more than just the loss of its top star. It must confront what it asks of its performers, what it takes to carry the weight of an empire. For the Bloodline, this moment will forever change their story. Their dominance was tied to Roman's presence. Now, they must face not just a storyline loss, but the real pain of losing the cornerstone of their family. Triple H, the leader who ushered in Roman's reign, now stands at the helm of a company without its tribal chief. His tears were not just for the man lost, but for the knowledge that WWE will never be the same again. Fans around the world are left with broken hearts, stunned silence, and endless questions. How can wrestling go on without Roman Reigns? Who can carry the legacy? And is it even possible to replace the irreplaceable? In the end, this is not a story about championships, rivalries, or scripted outcomes. It is a story about a man who gave everything to his craft, carried the weight of his bloodline, and paid the ultimate price under the brightest lights. Roman Reigns' death leaves behind a legacy written in triumph, built on dominance, shadowed by resentment, and sealed in blood. And as we reflect on this loss, we are reminded that trust can be broken, legacies can shatter, but family, no matter how fractured, will forever carry the scars. Roman Reigns is gone, but his spirit lives on. In every fan chant, in every rival's respect, and in every drop of blood spilled inside the ring, his story endures. A tale of betrayal, broken trust, and blood that will echo through WWE forever.